Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29, back again for another indie comic review. And in this indie comic review, I will be reviewing Berserker issue 4. And as you can see, we've got the return of some of the people's faves on this. Well, I know one of my faves that's on this, and that's Matt Kindt, because of what I've read of his, I definitely recommend. I highly recommend. Check out a number of his titles. One series of his that I really enjoy, which he really did well, was called Black Badge. Check it out. Well, after that recommendation, I think it's time to jump into the review of Berserker issue 4. Starting off with the cover, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that's happening inside the story? And surprisingly it does. It's not a very strong cover for this, but you know what, I do like the cover, and for it I gave the cover 7 out of 10. Now it's time to move for the art inside, to which I'll show the beginning, middle, and of course, the end. Now, this is some of the art around the beginning of the story, and I must admit, who Matt Kindt has got for artists here is really incredible, and I like how this story is being done. And as you can see there, we've got the character's parents having a bit of a talk about their child's growth and how he should be treated, or how they believe he should be treated. And you can see that this is also set in the very far past. I'll now move to some art in the middle of the story. Now this is some of the art around the middle of the story. Very gritty, I must admit. Well, not so much the art, but the situation. Very gritty. And you can see the character of B, to which you actually do start to learn what his real name actually is. And I like it. I like that we get to learn his name. And I'll bring it up later as soon as I reach the story part. I'll now move to some art towards the end. And last but not least, some art towards the end. And my goodness, the art in this from beginning to end, just in this comic alone, was very consistent in a lot of places, to which I gave the art a 7 out of 10. Now it's time to jump into the story rating. As you already know, there are things that I personally enjoy in my stories. And to start off with the first things first, was there any comic references to maybe any of the previous issues? None at all. Though it probably wouldn't hurt to maybe give reference to, say, issue 2, just in this issue alone, because of how far it delves into the character of B in this. In the time period, we get to see it. It's mainly in the talk at the beginning, to which we get to see. Now, it wouldn't hurt to include it, like, in the actual story, like pointing out what time period it's set in. But we do get to see it's 76,000 years ago. Location of, like, where things were happening in that time period still wasn't pointed out, and the same in reference to the location to which we got to see B. It wouldn't hurt if that location was actually included in the story. and also maybe even the location to which Diana was in the story. Basically, the person who's the psychologist and counselor that's actually trying to work with him. Moving into the cast of characters, the only key characters that really stood out in this were Diana, who is, of course, the counselor, and B, who we learn whose real name is actually Unute, spelled Unute. It delves into his past, to which he actually gets a bit of a revelation, and it feels a little forced as to how fast that he got this revelation. Personally, I could see this happen maybe after issue 6, but not so much, or around issue 6, not necessarily issue 4. So it did feel a little bit sped up. But overall, I did enjoy the story, and I gave it a 7 out of 10. Well, until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.